Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video, I'm going to show you guys how to play the Mariana Trench. Now, the theme of this game is to gain research points by studying sea creatures, and these water columns here are where the sea creatures are located, and by also collecting these research tokens right here at the bottom of the trench floor. Those are the two ways you're going to score points. Now, that's the object of the game. The way the game will end, if you're playing a two-player game, we have a bunch of research cards with 4 more research cards here. And when you take a research card out of the column, you're going to move all of the research cards down, So if I was to take this one, these would just slide down, for instance, okay? And then after you do that, then you will draw another research card and put it at the top. You'll keep doing this until you reach the end of the line. At the very end of this deck, we have these 3 oxygen tanks, and when the third one is revealed, you'll just put it at the top of the water column, obviously. And as you take another one of these cards, then you'll do it again with oxygen 2. And then when you have only 1 oxygen left, as soon as this one gets placed, game over. No extra turns, no ascending to the research ship up here anymore. And the reason why that can be important is when you discover a sea creature and are able to put it into your hold, and I'll discuss how you do that in a moment, but when you're able to put it into your hold, and when you are able to get a research token, you do not get the points directly. You first must ascend with that sea creature and the research token, or one or the other. You must have, you must ascend to the research ship here and then unload everything you've got before you can get the points for it. So if the game is over, and you're even if you're here and the game is over, and the last oxygen tank is placed, then obviously game over, and you don't get what you have sitting in your hold, as well as obviously the research token. So make a mental note, you have time, because once this gets taken out, the third oxygen tank, the game is just about done. So you better ascend, if you have something worth ascending with, as soon as possible before that oxygen 1 tank will show up. Now, if you're playing a solo game, this is one of the ways the game will end. Another way the game will end is if you are the player in the solo game that get these popped rivet tokens. If you get 2 of these, it's game over. How do you get these? Well, if a cephalopod attacks you, and you don't have a way to defend yourself, you're going to get 1 of these. So if you get 2 of these, and I think there's like 4 or 5 giant squids and octopuses that could possibly hurt you. So it could definitely happen that this will end the game for you. And then of course you'll still get deducted 2 research points for each one of these tokens you have, whether you're playing 2-player mode or solo, okay? And of course, these research tokens here, they will give you 2 research points for each one of these you have that you were able to obviously bring to the research ship. But yes, that's another way the game will end. A third way a game will end if you're playing solo is when you play solo, whatever submarine you decide you're not going to play with, the AI will take the other corresponding submarine. So if I took this one, the frogfish here, then my opponent, the AI, would get the shrimp, okay? And then once they, in solo mode, once they have acquired 4 research tokens and have obviously done the same thing as you, have safely brought them back to the research ship, and obviously offloaded their research tokens. Once they have 4 offloaded, it's game over as well. So that would probably happen before the other two possibilities. Probably. Because you see, here's the thing. The research, the shrimp here, AI, they move accordingly, okay? So right now, and this is how it is in two-player mode, but this right here indicates how many spaces you can go down on the water columns here, okay? That means the frogfish and the shrimp can only go down 2 water columns at a time. So if you were to start here, like you always do, this is the farthest you could go, which is approximately 2,000 fathoms. This is the farthest you could go on your turn. And that means you would have to do that again if you wanted to go to the trench floor, and again to reach it. So that's 3 turns before you'd reach the trench floor. That's the same thing for the research ship. However, there is an upgrade. You can get an upgrade. If you get this one here, you can upgrade the shrimp. That means your AI is going to upgrade, and that's going to allow it to go 3,000 fathoms instead of 2. And so instead of only being able to go 2, it's going to go 3. So depending on when it gets that upgrade, it could significantly hasten the game much, much sooner, because now it only takes 2 to reach the trench floor instead of 3 just to get down here, and then only 2 to get back up. Okay? Another thing, when you're playing solo, when the submarine, your AI submarine opponent, is going up, when they stop at a water column, they do not reveal the sea creature at that water column. Okay? When you do it, whether you're ascending or descending, when you arrive at a water column, you have to reveal this. And it could be a cephalopod attack. You just don't know. But the shrimp here, if it encounters the cephalopod as it descends, then it receives 0 damage. It doesn't get any of those popped rivets at all, okay? But then, of course, when it's ascending to the research ship, it doesn't reveal these at all. So that means it's not going to slow down at all. You know, it's not going to get any, obviously, it's not going to reveal a lot of extra research cards, meaning there'll be more of these over here drawn. So it's not likely that will, obviously, that's not likely that will end the game if you're playing solo. So that's obviously all the different ways that you can end the game if you were playing solo. Now let's talk about actually what you do on your turn. So if you're playing solo or 2-player, it doesn't matter. You will move down a certain amount, your choice, of course. If you just want to move down 1 column or 2 columns, that's your choice. But then you will reveal the card. Ooh, and it just happens to be my favorite animal in the ocean, the manta ray. And so then you will see what you can do with this sea creature. It is considered a large sea creature. And right now, the frogfish here can only hold sea creatures that are small, and only 1. So that means that you can't hold this. So that means it will just stay there, and you don't get it, okay? That means you can come back for it maybe later once you can upgrade your submarine. Once you can upgrade it, and obviously upgrade this here, then you'll be able to come back for it if it's still there. That means your opponent could possibly take it, especially in a 2-player game. If they have enough space for it, they could probably take it, taking it away from you. They might just do that. It's definitely a possibility if they have it, if they have the space. Okay, because once again, you can only hold 1 sea creature. So if you don't have an upgraded submarine on this particular upgrade here, then that means you can only hold 1 sea creature, and it has to be a small one. Then once you do have that sea creature, you can't get more until you come back up here and offload it to the research ship, okay? But then, once you do get an upgrade, so once you do get the upgrade, so like for instance, I could choose to upgrade with the manta ray to get this upgrade. See, because there's 2 things you can do with the card. you can, when you reveal a sea creature, you can choose to use it for the upgrade. So that way now, I could technically have either two small sea creatures before I need to offload them on the research ship, or I could now, for instance, get a large sea creature, another one later down the road, and obviously put it into my hold. That's something that I can do, okay? All right, so, but there's other upgrades you can do as well besides that. And another thing, you can never upgrade more than the same upgrade more than once. So I couldn't get another sea creature and upgrade this exact one again. I can only do it once. So each of these are only a one-time upgrade for each of these three. Now, if you get this upgrade, it will increase this by another column. So then you can go 3,000 fathoms instead of 2,000 once you get this upgrade here and put it on your ship, just like I have this one here. This is the Sonar Upgrade. On any time on your turn before you move, you can choose to reveal a water column either above you or below you to see what's there before you move. So that's something you can do once you have the Sonar Upgrade. If you get that upgrade, you can do that. That's what you can do. That's pretty cool, I think. So that's one thing you can do. And then if you're playing with this particular basically mini set or mini expansion, it has another upgrade that you can get from the new 4 sea creatures that are added with this. And with this upgrade here, if you get it, it's going to attract a creature, small or large, towards your ship. After attracting a creature, it will follow your sub until your hold has capacity to load a creature attracted by bioluminescence. Spend 1 turn and load it into your hold. Okay, so maybe that manta ray, maybe I had this upgrade already, the bioluminescence upgrade, and maybe I did reveal the manta ray, but I couldn't take the manta ray, or the only thing I could do technically would maybe be to upgrade it. That would be the only thing. So that's one of the things you can do as well. With the bioluminescence upgrade, I could choose instead, if I had the bioluminescence upgrade, I could choose to instead not upgrade with the manta ray if I hadn't obviously gotten this upgrade yet, and instead obviously attracted it with bioluminescence if I had that upgrade. And then it would follow me around until I could get it. That means if it was following me around, my opponent can't take it. So that's an option if you have that particular upgrade already. Something you have to find, and only 4 sea creatures in this entire deck of cards here have that upgrade. So it might be a while before it shows up. But that's an option as well. So those are the 4 upgrades that you can choose to do and upgrade your turn. Now, if you can't upgrade because either you already have the upgrade for the submarine, or you don't want to upgrade, or you can't take the sea creature because it's too big for your ship, or you already have a sea creature in your hold, then obviously it's going to stay there until somebody can take it later down the road. Now, of course, if other sea creatures are taking, then it will move down as well, down the water column, just like the rest of the cards as well. So that's how that's going to work on your turn. Now, if you do encounter a giant squid or a giant octopus, if you do ever encounter one, and here's a giant squid, so if you do ever encounter this, then you will get this token here, the popped rivet token. You'll get that. Now, there is a way to prevent getting this. If you have this electrical charge token here, if you have this, you can use it to basically stun the creature. And so that way you won't get this popped rivet token. So that's one of the things that you can do to avoid getting the minus points. And once you use it, then that means it's gone. And that means if you encounter another giant squid before you get this back later down the road, then you will have to take that rivet token. Okay? But once it's been revealed, even if you weren't either to use the giant squid to upgrade, or just to even take the giant squid, as in to put into your hold, it will stay there and it will become passive. That means if somebody else encounters it, they won't have to worry about getting, this token here because it's already been disturbed. That means if you're playing in solo and the AI does encounter this, that means it's safe for you to take it down the road later if the AI cannot use it somehow, some way, either for the upgrade or obviously to put into their hold for their research. So that's something you should note about the giant squid and the giant octopus as well. Okay, so that's how that works. And then of course, if you want another, if you've used your token here and you want to get another one, all you got to do is come back up here, ascend to the research ship, and then when you're offloading your stuff, you can also charge up your submarine. Now that takes a turn to do as well. So if you come up here, you might want to wait until you have something worth coming up with, because you're going to basically take your turn here doing all that anyways. And when you attract a sea creature with bioluminescence, regardless of where you are, when you're finally able to take the animal, you will take an additional turn taking that animal if it was attracted by a bioluminescence. So that's another thing to note. So it's not like a freebie move. Ooh, I just unloaded off all my animals, and so now, ooh, I've got this attracted bioluminescence sea creature, and I don't have to waste a turn doing that. But that's not the case. You will have to take an additional turn doing that as well. So that's something to note for sure. But that's how that's all going to work as well. So let's see here. So how do you score points? That's pretty much the last thing to talk about, the point system. Well, obviously you're going to get 2 points for each of the research tokens you have, and you're going to lose 2 points for each of these you have, but then you also will score points depending on the run and the kind. Now, what does that mean? Well, some of these sea creatures, all of these sea creatures will have something that makes them unique. There's several different basically symbols. This one is deep sea life, for instance. This one is cephalopod, for instance. This one's its own unique thing as well, obviously. And you notice the manta ray here, it's basically like a shark. It counts towards the sharks, so it's going to be like that, right? And so I guess these are the living, breathing. These identify as like living, breathing sea creatures that have to come up for air. So dolphins, whales, that kind of thing. Anyways, so if you have 2 or 3 or 4 of a kind, meaning you have 4 sharks, even if they're all different species, but if you have 4 of these, for instance, if you have 4 of these symbols, then you're going to score 7 points. If you have, and you can use these for the run as well. So if you have 4 differences here, so we have 1 species here that's obviously for the run, then this one would count for the run. So with this, and so with this, that's 4 different kinds for the run. You could get 7 points as well. So you could use this for both the kind and for the run. You can score them for both, which is pretty cool, I think, that you can do that for both. You don't have to be like, which one should I do for the run? Which one should I do for the kind? So that's basically how you're going to score points. So 7 and 7 at max. And then, of course, if it's less than 4 of a kind or less than 3 of a kind, you'll still score some points regardless. So that's basically all the different ways you're going to score points in this game. So I think I explained it pretty well. There's all sorts of, obviously, different sea creatures you'll come across. And obviously, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 of these cephalopods that could possibly attack you in the entire deck of cards that could come out, obviously. So I pretty much explained how you play this game all the way through. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.